We're live. Welcome, everyone, to Monday Night Moshiach Matters class, because Moshiach matters. And as we're getting closer and closer to the Gula Amitisha Shlema, the true and complete redemption, more than ever, it is important to emphasize learning about Mashiach and Gula, as our Rebbe has instructed us, and that's what we do here every Monday night. So let's get moving. We are now in Parshas Vayera. And he appeared. Who appeared? God. So let's talk about God appearing in our lives. Okay, let's get cracking. Aleph. Matila is a Parshas Sinu, Vayera el Avraham, Yitzchak v'el Yaakov. Lo Shaddai, Shmei Havaya, Lo Nidat. Lo Chein Amor v'Levnei Yisrael, Ani Havaya. Sarik Lahavan. So the opening pasuk in this week's parsha says, I revealed myself to Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and then in the name Kel Shaddai. But my name Havaya, they did not know me by. I did not reveal myself to them by. And therefore, I said to the Jewish people, I am Havaya. Havaya being a higher, more lofty, intense name of God than Kel Shaddai, meaning the name that he revealed himself to the forefathers, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. So the Rebbe has a question on this pasuk. So as it's connected to the fact that it's written, and it says to the forefathers, I revealed myself, Hashem said, only in this name Kel Shaddai, which is a lower revelation of godliness, but not in the name Havaya, which is a higher revelation of godliness. But to the Jewish people, I revealed myself in the name Havaya, which is a higher level of godliness. So the Rebbe has a question on why does it say in between these things that says, on the higher name of godliness, I did not reveal myself, and therefore to the Jewish people, I did reveal myself. So in other words, it appears to be saying that to the forefathers, the choicest of the Jewish people, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, I did not reveal myself to them in a higher level. And therefore, to the Jewish people, I did reveal myself to a higher level. And therefore, it doesn't seem to work. It doesn't seem fitting in the sentence. It seems to be specifically because I revealed myself in a lower name to Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. That's why I revealed myself in a higher name to the Jewish people. And so the question is, why is it say, therefore I revealed myself in a higher name to the Jewish people? And furthermore, why did God reveal himself in a higher level to the Jewish people than he did to the forefathers, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov? You would think it would be the opposite. You would think it would say, to the Jewish people, I didn't reveal myself in such a high level, and therefore, for the forefathers, the chosen of the Jewish people, I did. But it's the opposite. Base. Even more than this. So again, he revealed himself on a lower level to the forefathers, but not to the Jewish people, and therefore the name of the parsha is Vayera, which means to reveal. Kai all his gadlos al avos, and referring to the avos, the forefathers. So what does it mean? He revealed himself to the forefathers. So the name of the parsha is basically saying Vayera, I revealed myself to the forefathers. And yet the parsha then goes on and says, but I didn't reveal myself to them in a high dimension. It was in a lower dimension. So you would think if the name of the parsha is showing how I revealed myself, it would be emphasizing the fact that you revealed yourself in the highest level capacity. And it turns right on and says, no, but I only revealed myself in a small capacity. But to the Jewish people, into a higher one. So something's off. Kind of. Let's explore. Base. The Nira Lamar, to what appears to say, Shekivan Shnikra Avois Kamudgash, the Perus Rashi, the Era al Ha'avos. Sha'avosim the Mara Mahabanim. Makor the Hem. So it says, as Rashi explains, the forefathers, the fathers in general, are on a higher level from the children because the children are the root. The fathers are the root of the children, right? The offspring come from the forefathers. Yesh behem ma'ader yisara the gabi ha'avani, and there's obviously an advantage to the forefathers over the children. The serum is even more than this. Shemaylas ha'avos he gam the gabi Moshe, and it says even regarding Moshe Rabbeinu, right? The Jewish people, it's known the chariot, the foundation of the Jewish people started with Avram Avinu, and then Yitzchak Avinu, and Yaakov Avinu. They're called the forefathers, the Avos, Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. So clearly, they're on a higher level than the rest of the Jewish people. And the Rebbe goes on to say that they're even in some capacities in a higher level than Moshe Rabbeinu. Sha'alov na'amar eni havaya. And God revealed himself to Moshe Rabbeinu in the name Havaya as well. And of course to all the Jewish people. Excuse me. Lo mishtachachin yeshli in its hitzonan. Misa avos. Harbe pa'amim v'nigalis elehem ve'el shaddai v'lo amar lo ma shemcha ata amro ma shemo. Lo haro acha nedoisi v'ata amro lo ma haroisa. So it's emphasizing the value, the importance of the forefathers, and yet he never revealed himself in this lofty level to those who really think are the most fitting to merit such a lofty revelation. Okay, Gimel. Now we're going to start explaining. Mavor bedrushi Chasidus, and now we're going to talk a little bit about the Hasidic deeper explanation. Shegilui Shem Havaya, the revelation of the name Havaya, Haya b'Matan Torah, took place in the giving of the Torah in Matan Torah. V'lochin Ezra Abu Shayo l'fnei Matan Torah, and therefore we see that the forefathers existed before the Torah was given. Yira b'El Shaddai, and therefore he revealed himself in the name El Shaddai, a lower level. But the name Havaya, they were not known by. The Etzel B'nai Yisrael, the Matan Torah, and since the Jewish people, of course, were the ones who received the Torah, therefore we would say that that's why they received a high revelation of God in the name Havaya. As it continues and says, and I took this nation to be mine. And they knew that I was Havaya. So it appears like we have the answer to our question, but obviously there's going to be much more here, or it would be a very short sikha. It says even though the forefathers existed before the Torah was given, it's known that Avram Avinu kept the entire Torah. Even though it wasn't given to him. It's known that Abraham was the forerunner in the beginning of receiving the Torah, as we've learned previously in these classes. And this is emphasized through his mitzvah of Brit Milah. Abraham that the drawing down of the godly energy into his member, right? Members only. This was the beginning of the foundation of getting the Torah. Shiyam na yadecha, sim na yadecha, tachas yachon, and put your hand on my thigh. The fish nishravava tzarich shiyato biyadav chayfetz shel mitzvahs, and swear on this mitzvah on the Brit Milah. The unique thing about giving the Torah is it drew down godly energy into the physical world and combined the upper and lower worlds together. And this all started by this first mitzvah of Avram Avinu. Excuse me, because the rest of the Torah, Avram was keeping on his own volition. Although it wasn't commanded by God, he did it out of love and honor and respect for God. But it wasn't until God actually, the first real commandment was when God told him to give himself a bris, Brit Milah. That even though the unification of the upper and the lower worlds, this is what happened in the giving of the Torah. This began with the very first mitzvah, as it was connected to the physical body and member of Avram Avinu. Banakitas chefetz demila. Aleph. Bekasher le'shidduch Yitzchak v'Rivka. Okay, so let's back up what it says. So there is to say that this is hinted also in the connection of the relevance and actuality to the world, the lower world, and specifically the matter of the promise, the swear that was made on this physical object, which was part of his body, the Brit Milah. So Aleph, as it's connected to the shidduch of Yitzchak and Rivka, the marriage of Yitzchak and Rivka, Yichud Ma v'Ban, unifying the energies of Ma and Ban, as we have, of course, learned previously in the groundbreaking Sikha of Chayasara. Shahu in Klalos Kal Avoda Kiyom Torah Mitzvahs. And this is a general idea of the service of Torah mitzvahs, unifying the masculine and feminine energy, Ma and Ban. So it is that Nasa Hamshacha Kedusha B'Tachtoin. Through doing this, you're able to draw down and bring holiness into the lower aspect of creation, meaning this physical world. And base, Eliezer, Ever, Abraham, Sha'af, Shebenoga, the Shirach, the Yitzchak, excuse me, Omer lo Abraham, B'nei Baruch, V'ata Arur, V'ein Arur B'debech Baruch. And then we know that when he tried to make the Shirach, and Abraham sent his servant Eliezer tried to hook up his own daughter with Abraham's son, Yitzchak, and Abraham basically said, no go, it's not going to happen. Nevertheless, Eliezer is the one who made the shidduch between Rivka and Yitzchak. And this was emphasizing the concept of transforming darkness to light and bitterness to sweetness. So and through this brought about the unification of the upper and lower worlds and the ultimate completion. But it didn't happen before. And since we see that God revealed himself to Abraham in the name Kel Shaddai, because it was connected to the mitzvah of Milah. That was the narrative, the revelation. Nevertheless, since this was the beginning of keeping the mitzvot, the question is, why was God not revealing himself to Abraham in this lofty level that happened in Mount Torah? Because he was actually the one who started this process by this mitzvah of Milah. That's the whole idea of unifying physical and spiritual. Okay, David. Nevertheless, it says, and he appeared to Abraham. But my name Havaya, they did not come to know me by. Since this is connected to the mitzvah Milah only, so the rectification and relevance of revealing the name Havaya, which is a unique thing that only happened in the giving of the Torah, was connected to the unification of the upper and lower worlds. Drawing down godly energy from above into this physical world. Because the name Havaya is Bligvu. It means it's a name of God that is not connected or really relevant to physicality or to the physical world. It's a level of godly energy that we say is Bligvu, which means without limit. It's an unlimited, infinite potential name. The mitzad toikif v'gilui de'or Bligvu nimshar gam lamat. And the idea was to draw down this very high infinite light into a finite world below. The mata rak mitzvahs mila, that since that Abraham drew down this holy level down to the physical world through the mitzvah of mila, Abraham Avinu, through the member of his body, members only. But this world itself did not really have a container for this holy high level of godly energy. And it was not acknowledged and recognized the revelation of this big light of Bligvu without limitations, the name Havaya. And that's where it says, by my name Havaya, I did not become known to them. In other words, even though Avraham Avinu himself drew down this high level of godly energy into his body, the world itself was not a proper receptacle for that energy. And therefore, Avram, being the leader or the head of the world or the generation at the time, was not able to have this tremendous light, not because he couldn't have it, but because the world itself wasn't fitting for it. And it's not that God could draw, once he brings that energy into the world, even though it's directed to one person, a person who's of Avram's stature, it affects the entire world. So let's explain this another. That since there was a drawing down of godly energy below through this mitzvah of Mila, through the power of no limitations, above limitations, the beginning of this revelation of Havaya took place in the giving of the Torah. But the power of this infinite light, this infinite potential of Bligvu, was not recognizable and revealed through this drawing down of this energy into the world. And this is where we can understand the precise language where it says, my name Havaya, they did not come to know me. Lo hadarati. Inkasiv kan ele. Lo hadarati. Lo nikrasi. Chesroinu rak v'hakara bizgalus. Oh, so now the Rebbe is saying a very profound thing. So we have to look at the precise language. It says, Lo hadarati inkasiv kan. It wasn't written there that they did not come to know me. Rather, it was Lo nidatati. Wait, hold on a second. Lo hadarati inkasiv kan. Elo lo nidarati, lo nikarati, meaning that it did not acknowledge, it did not recognize that it was missing only the recognition that it was revealed. But the main matter of drawing down this level of Havaya began in the mitzvah of Mila. In other words, this process of drawing this high level of lofty energy, of awareness, if you will, that God is above this world, that God creates this world, and that this world is finite and God is infinite. That potential started with Abraham Avinu. But the acknowledgement and realization that that's God behind that energy was not brought out in the world yet. The world did not have the capacity, if you will, for such a thing, right? Let's continue further. Hey, and to take it a little bit deeper, in addition to the beginning of the bringing about of the unification, of the upper and lower worlds to the mitzvah Mila, yesh etzel ha'avos, and in now this Yosef. This is connected to the avos, to the forefathers. That the unique thing of unifying the upper and lower worlds that are in the boundaries of the world, that it was divided between upper and lower. And there was a decree that the upper spiritual godly energy, which was higher than the world, couldn't come down into the world. And this physical world didn't have the capacity to receive this lofty energy of God that was above the world. In other words, God existed in what we say is in the name Elohim, his name connected to the nature, the name where he conceals himself in the world, the name where you don't acknowledge or recognize it, right? That's why we said, Pharaoh said, who is this God? I don't know who this is, because his awareness of God was very limited. They believed that God created the world, but then it's up to them to run the world. God's not here. God's not present in this world. Maybe he's up there somewhere, but he has no business. He doesn't care what's going on. He created the world and he left it to its own devices, and we can do whatever we want. And here's the proof: is that we're going to, we're going to enslave people. We're going to beat them. We're going to murder them. We're going to rape them. We're going to do whatever we want, and no one can do anything about it because we make up the rules, right? It's called social Darwinism. Might equals right. Machiavellian politics. Do whatever is necessary to get whatever you want. Who cares what you do? It doesn't matter how many people you injure in the way, because the mindset is God isn't here. God's up there somewhere. So when that energy originally got brought down into the world, it was not acknowledged, it was not recognized, because the world still hadn't reached that state of having a preparation, if you will, for that energy to come down. So the energy was up there, was God. And who knows? I don't know. Maybe up in heaven there's somewhere angels. Who knows? Who cares? Because God created the world, and now this world belongs to me, right? Like that's what Pharaoh says. I created the Nile. I'm the one who's in charge of this world. I'm the strong one. I'm the one who makes the rules over here. So that knowledge of godliness was not present in the world. But when God gave the Torah, that became nullified. And then all of a sudden, God opened up the channels through studying and learning Torah and doing mitzvot and following God's path down here to reveal that God is omnipresent, not just up there, but down here. And God wants to have a meaningful personal relationship with every one of us down here. And God is personally involved in every aspect of your reality. He knows when you blow your nose. He knows when I'm rubbing my nose. He knows what you're talking about. He knows what's in your heart. He knows what's in everyone's hearts, thoughts, and actions all the time. Because there's 7 billion people in the world, he creates all the time. It's not that he made one creation and then went on autopilot. If God wasn't continuously recreating the world every second, the world wouldn't exist. So it's a sobering moment. Everyone's concerned about Big Brother, right? And video cameras and they can see. Guess what? God sees everything. So it's a sobering thought to realize that every single thing you do is not only seen, it's recorded. All your deeds are recorded in a book. And when you do tshuva, all the negative things you do get erased. But if you don't, they stay there. So when God gave the Torah, he removed this decree between the upper and lower worlds. Hold on, I lost my place. חידש למען תורו גם בגדרי האודם שיש בו גזר ההפסק בין העליון ותחתונים, תוימשך דרגת אלוקוס למעלה מגדר העליון ותחתונים. And that's what happened in the Torah, when God gave the Torah. He removed this decree and enabled this godly energy to flow down into the world. And the world, and this physical world to be transformed into a godly or holy world. And for this we can understand the connection to the revealing of this lofty name of Havaya to the Jewish people when the Torah was given. And I will take you to be a nation for me. That's what God said. Well, let me just do a time check. Okay. And this unique thing is it's connected specifically to the service of the Yidden in the world. How? Through fulfilling Torah and mitzvot. That's how we reveal a concealed God. We are able to connect the bridge from a finite mind and a finite comprehension to an infinite God is through the Torah. That's how we connect. To bring about the unification of the upper and lower worlds. But we see that the source of the Jewish people is even above the Torah. And this is also the level of the Avos, the forefathers. Rosh Ma'amani, and that we know that Avram was the first of the believers. Petach Chetzinor L'Koach Ha'amuna, mysterious nefesh mazayatam neshama. He was the first one to reveal what we call the opening or the pipe for the power of amuna, of faith, and mysterious nefesh, self-sacrifice, for the essence of the soul. Meaning, we connect to God not because it makes sense, not because we want a front row seat in heaven, not because we're going to get some kind of wonderful reward or God's so nice to us and gives us all these wonderful things. We connect to God because it's the essence of our soul. And it's a deep-seated amuna, it's a faith inside all of us that is above logic. It doesn't have to make sense. If your connection to God is only logical, then anytime someone challenges that logic, or God forbid, you're put into a situation to question God's infinite wisdom, you break the connection. Because you say, that doesn't make sense to me. Why would he do that? I'm not interested. So Avram was the first to connect to this level, what we say is above Talmudah, logic and reasoning, and into the essence of our soul, which is through self-sacrifice, which is the realization that it's not about me. It's not about what I want or I feel like or I'm in the mood for or what makes sense or my desires. It's about, why did God put me in this world? What is my true purpose? And the unique thing of the revealing of this lofty name Havaya and the giving the Torah is that the essence of the soul of every single Jew was drawn down and revealed also in a revealed way. The powers of our soul were revealed in a very high level. Also in our physical body, in this physical world. In order to bring this revelation into the world, to bring a realization to the world that God is above the world and he's in the world. He's just as much down here as he is up there. And he's running this world and he wants a connection with each one of us. When Mashiach comes, it's going to be revealed. There'll be nowhere else to hide. More specifically, the unique thing of the giving of the Torah is not only as it's revealed and connected to the drawing down below, but to our very essence, our core. Because specifically by drawing down into the lowest aspects of creation, you can reveal the essence of the thing. And it's not bound or limited. And therefore it's drawn down in every single place because it's permeating the core. Excuse me. And also drawing on the very essence of the thing. And this is credited to the forefathers. The mitzvah is milah, from the mitzvah milah. But since it was didn't draw down and penetrate into the physical world, it was not recognizable, the essence of the matter. And from the side, it was of penetrating into the boundary of the matter and drawing down into the whole entire world. Where that didn't happen until after the giving of the Torah. And therefore, as we said earlier, with the forefathers, with Avraham Avinu, even though that began the process of revealing this deep, high level of godly energy, it was only in Avraham. It didn't spread to the world. But when we got the Torah, the entire world God permeated through. Nevertheless, that the drawing down of this essence was specifically through the forefathers. They began this process. And the main work of the offspring, of the children of the Yidden, after the giving of the Torah, is connected to enclothing and deeply penetrating the world with this high aspect of godly energy. This is not the case with the service of the forefathers. Ikar mitzad etzem and neshama, which is from the essence of the soul. V'koach zeh nasis avodas habanim, and specifically through their power, the offspring are able to do their work. In such a way that we're able to reveal and penetrate this essence into the physical world. In other words, the forefathers had this, their soul connection to God was on a deep level. We say it's called their essence, their being on a much deeper level. But it wasn't revealed into the world, right? They were holy, they were lofty people, they were kind of above the world, they were in the world, but there was a big disconnect. Not intentionally, it's just the world wasn't holding there. But after the giving of the Torah, our work now is because we have the power. That all started from Avraham Avinu's Mesiras Nefesh, right? None of us, thank God, have to give ourselves a bris at 99 years old by ourselves. But we do have to come to the realization that this world is not about me. And I need to kind of put aside my wants and my desires and my time to ask of myself and of God, what do you need me for? What is my purpose in the world? Why did you bring me into your world so graciously? I'm allowed to enjoy the world. It doesn't mean I have to live like a hermit and deprive myself, but it's not focused on the I. And it's not all about I and what I feel and what I'm in the mood of and what I want. It's more, how do I take this godly core that is an inheritance from our forefathers and reveal it in me, in my home, in my communities, and in the world. Yes, the more is to say Shabbat and Torah in Hanisuin in the Knesset Yisrael in Makadosh Baruch Hu, that the giving of the Torah was considered like a marriage between God and the Jewish people. It was the bond that connected us. And it came and began this process of spreading out through the forefathers. In such a way, it's emphasized Aleph, Sha'avodas Habanim, Bo HaKoach HaAvos, that the service that we do is from the power of our forefathers. In other words, they give us the power. In fact, the Rebbe has a Sikha where he speaks about it, that in every generation, it's the Nasi Ador, it's the leader of the generation that gives the power to the people in the generation to do their work. In other words, if we weren't empowered from our forefathers and this concept of self-sacrifice, we would not have the ability to fulfill our mission. So they give us the power to do it, right? It's like the source, the energy source. Base. And this energy is drawn down into the physical world through us, right? Every single Jew has the ability to do mitzvot. And non-Jews have the ability to do, they have 7 mitzvot also, the 7 laws of Noah. And any time that humanity follows the 7 laws and with the realization that's coming from God, or a Jew keeps any of the mitzvot, we're bringing godly energy into this physical world. You may not recognize it physically, but I can assure you that when you work on yourself and you refine yourself and you go through this process of setting your own needs, desires, and wants aside and making room for God, you will start to see God. I don't mean physically, oh, there's God, see him standing over there. I mean, you will see and feel God's presence in your world. God is inside of us. He wants to reveal himself in our being, in our brains, in our hearts, in our bodies. He can't do that if our brains, hearts, and our bodies are blocked, if there's trauma, if there's dark energy, if there's negativity, if there's stuff that's stuck there. It's almost like people, God forbid, have to have heart surgery because there's plaque. There's plaque from cholesterol that clogs people's arteries. And the blood can't get through. There's no passageway. It's the same idea. If we have spiritual plaque, if we have spiritual dirt from acting improperly or from past trauma, things that are blocking the godly energy, we don't feel God because he's there, but he's not revealed because he's not flowing through us. The idea is when you work on yourself, when you learn Torah, when you do mitzvot, when you do inner work, when you go through a lot of deep inner cleansing, it's called cleaning, you're cleaning out that negative energy and you're allowing God to become present into your reality. And that comes from the power of our forefathers. But it's up to us to use that power and utilize it in this physical world to reveal this level of godly energy. Zion. Yes, the hoise, the war had taken in the Shmi Havaya lo Nadarati, and there is an addition to this to explain this concept of my name Havaya that did not come to be known. Gam Achri Matan Torah, even after the giving of the Torah, Hari HaTorah Hi Nitzchis, that the Torah is eternal. The Chora, Kevan Shekavara Avro Elfei Shanim, Ma'as Nizgala Shem Havaya Matan Torah, Ma Shechata Inish Me Havaya lo Nadarati. So the Rebbe points out something that he speaks about often in the Sikhs, which is that the Torah is eternal, and every message is not only for the weekly Torah portion, but we have to ask ourselves, how does this apply to me here and now in my life? And so this pasuk, that the name Havaya, they did not come to know me by, what does that have to do with us? That's because the Torah hadn't been given. It's talking about the forefathers. The Torah was given thousands of years ago. So what is that? How do we relate that to our lives here and now? Excuse me. I got to stop eating right before I give this share. So there is an explanation, of course. Even though that on giving of the Torah, the name Havaya was revealed, and as it is written, they know now I am Havaya. In other words, I am the God who creates this world, and the God above and the God below, we're the same one. But in the future to come, we will see that the name Havaya is Elohim. And then it will be revealed from his place above even more, until the name Havaya is considered only like Elohim. In other words, in the days of Mashiach, the name Havaya, which we're talking about, this huge, lofty, tremendous energy of God that wasn't revealed before the Torah was given. And the name Elohim that existed before in the nature that God wasn't concealed. And the future to come, the name Havaya will be like Elohim, meaning that the level of godly energy will be so revealed and so awesome that the level of energy that God used to give us the Torah will be like the level of energy that existed before the Torah, if that makes sense. Because then we will see we will reveal what is called Havaya Elyon, the upper Havaya, a higher level of godly energy. Because this is the main name will be revealed. That the name that they do not know me by, that's the name Havaya that will be considered not as important, if you will, as the real name Havaya that will come in the future to come, which will overshadow even the name of Havaya that the Torah was given through. Because it says we will have a new Torah, a renewed Torah that will be given to us. It's called Torah Chadash Mitzitzi, the new Torah that will come out from God. And then we'll reach the completion of the marriage between Jewish people and God. That even though we previously said that the giving of the Torah was like a marriage between God and the Jewish people, in fact, it is really more considered like an engagement. The full marriage will take place when Mashiach comes, and then we will really see how God and the Jewish people are one. So let's explain even further. That is explained, like we said above, the connection to the advantage of the forefathers, of the service of the children after the giving of the Torah, regarding the service of the forefathers before the Torah, that specifically we were able to draw out on the essence, right? The essence was revealed in Avraham and Yitzchak and Yaakov, but it wasn't able to penetrate into the world. We're able to now penetrate that essence into the world of God. Because and that it was not, at the time, was not drawn down into the physical world. And we could see the proof of this, that the essence wasn't revealed. The Gavi is man hazeh. In the future to come, so the Rebbe is making a comparison of the energy that existed before the giving of the Torah to the energy that existed after the Torah, to the energy after the Torah as it will be to after Mashiach comes. It's going to be even a bigger, higher leap, right? I lost my place. Hadar, his Hagbala, Ha'etzem, Hui, Rak, Lo, Rak, Hamshach, Lamata, that the revealing, the penetrating of the essence is not only is drawing down below, Elagam, his Galus Lamata, but will be revealed below. Shahari, Ha'etzem, Eno, Mukhrach, Lihiyos Ba'oidam, because the essence of God is still not acknowledged or recognized in the world. Elavadai, Yuchor, Luvo, Gam, B'Gidoy. Rather than for sure, we will be able to come to a state of revelation. In other words, that the godly energy, that's why there will be no more sins. No one is going to sin. No one will have the capacity to sin. It says when in the times of the Beis Hamikdash, when you had entered to the Beis Hamikdash, you would literally fall on your face and prostrate yourself, like flat on the ground. It wasn't out of respect to God. It was because the godly energy was so overpowering, you couldn't stand in front of it. It literally caused you to be what we call bitul, to fall down before. The godly energy is going to be so omnipresent in the world that it's going to be impossible to go against God's will. You won't be able to, even if you wanted to, because the capacity to sin won't exist anymore. If we really felt the presence of God inside of us and standing over us all the time, we would never come to sin. We wouldn't have free choice. That's why God conceals himself. Okay. That through the deeds in the service of fulfilling Torah and mitzvahs, this is only drawing down this energy below, but it will only be revealed in the future to come, right? All the mitzvot we did, all the tzedakah we give, all the good deeds we do, we're bringing godly energy and revealing it. It's coming into the world, but it's not revealed. You don't see it. You don't give tzedakah and see godly go, whoo, like energy flow out from it. It would be nice. You don't put on tefillin and it's like, whoa, like feel tremendous godly revelation. Maybe when you first started tshuva, when we all first start tshuva, in the beginning, it's like, wow, you feel, major difference because there's energy flowing that's never been before. But generally speaking, only when Mashiach comes, we're actually going to see the godly energy present everywhere. So right now, this power, we have the power to bring this godly energy into the world, and we're doing it, but it's not visible. When Mashiach comes, it will be visible. And as we said previously, the service of the Jewish people after the giving of the Torah comes from the power that is imbued in us from the forefathers before the Torah was given. Before it was connected to the essence, it wasn't revealed in the world. And similarly, we see the completion of this energy fulfilling the world of godly energy of the essence of God will be revealed in the future to come, and it comes from the power of our service now. In other words, we're building our own Beis Hamikdash. We're building our own Mashiach times. We're building our own garden, our own redemption. The energy and work you put forth now, it's planting, right? This is the first line of the Rebbe gave, Basi Lagani. Whatever you reap is what you will sow. The energy you're putting forth right now to improve this world around you will be the revelation of the improvement that comes from the future to come. If you're not caring about the garden of making things beautiful in there and you're wasting your time clocking on video games, that's going to reflect when the future comes. Since in the future to come, it will emphasize mainly this revelation into the world. And we see in this time, specifically in the exile, it's emphasizing the main service is from the essence of the work. Because right now, in the time of exile, it's through what we call mysterious nefesh. Meaning you don't necessarily see the fruits of your labor. They're not revealed. You're doing what you need to do because it's the right thing to do. It's what God wants of you. But when Mashiach comes, you're going to see. In addition to this, the power of the forefathers will be revealed in the future to come. It says in three things God gave a foretaste in the future world. Now, Abraham, with Abraham it is written, with everything. Yitzchak, from Yitzchak is written from everything, and Yaakov it's written everything altogether. The Ikar Hashem is talking about the power of the forefathers. You see the vote that the main energy we will see we can read stories about Abraham, about Yitzchak, about Yaakov, but we don't realize that all those stories have tremendous godly energy packed inside of them. It's coming from what we call the Sfirot of Chesed, Gevor, and Tiferet in the world of Etzilus. And that is the energy that God uses to draw down the source of it into this physical world. And that energy is what gives us the power to do what we do. Without the forefathers, we couldn't do anything. So God gave them the power, and because of their power, he gave it to us, and it will be revealed in the future to come. And then we will have the completion of in everything, from everything, and everything, referring to the energies of the three forefathers, Etzel, Bnei Yisrael. And all the Jewish people will encompass this. Ches. And the completion of the name Havaya in the future to come. Rumas, Parsha, Mitchilin, the Kroyes, Vezman of Mikha, the Shabbos Vira, Parshas Bo. This is hinted on in the Parsha that we read in Mincha, which is Parshas Bo. All the pasuk V'yamar Hashem al Moshe Bo al Paro, and Hashem said to Moshe, "Come to Paro." Isabel Zohar, and it says in the Zohar, "D'le'ela liha Kodesh Baruch idrich bater idrich, l'gabi t'nina kada ilaah." It's very interesting because the crocodile is once again hanging out outside of my house, and we're learning about him right now, where it says that in the Zohar Kodesh says that when Moshe had to go to Paro, he calls Paro the great crocodile, the great sea creature, literally crocodile, and he was hidden in room after room after room, and Moshe had to go deeper and deeper and deeper into the darkness, if you will, to reveal the light. The Shora she'inin the Paro the Kedusha, and the source of Paro of Kedusha or holiness. Because every single thing in this world, even negative things, have their energy in lofty, godly things, or they wouldn't be able to exist. It's referring to the fifth level of Paro. Is Pario is Gali, Mine Kol Nohori. The level of wild and uncontrollable lights, very high level of godly energy in the upper worlds, in the world of Tohu. God's name Havaya, the tetragrammaton, is Yud Hey Vav Hey. This is referring to the kunst of the Yud, the point of the Yud referring to the Keter, and its source in the upper worlds of chaos, of Tohu. That's too high of an energy to come into this world. So when it manifests in this world, it manifests into what appears to be something evil. And that evil, Peril, that source of all that negative energy here, has a very lofty source above in holiness. And this is a foretaste of all the negative energy in the world. And you're starting to see it. It's starting to show its face. The klipa, the forces of evil, are running out of places to hide. And they're starting to become revealed, whether they realize it or not. So imagine all the negative, all the horrific things that have happened in the course of the last 5,785 years. I mean, how many hundreds of millions of people have been slaughtered, brutalized, war, and horrific things. All that negative energy, its source comes from this super high level of godly energy from above that will be revealed for good. So the negative energy is like a minute drop of all the positive good that is going to come out when Mashiach comes. And that is what we call Havaya the Elia, the upper name Havaya. which is at the current time still only coming into this world, hidden and concealed over by a deep dark shadow. But as Mashiach is arriving and revealing himself, you will start to see this potential for good and higher energy for good, superpowers for good are becoming more revealed. And the negative energy is being broken and crushed. Crush you. In addition to this, Parshas Bo Hayav Parshas Shlishi B'Sefer HaShmos Sefer HaGeula. The Rebbe calls the book of Shmos the book of redemption, as we learned previously that. The book of names is actually remembrance on the redemption, on the Geula. And the Rebbe said this is the third book. Parshas Bo is the third book of the book of redemption. It's hinted also on the true and complete redemption, which is known as the third or the third base of Mikdash. So the Rebbe is connecting these three parshas, the one Parshas Bo upcoming, Vira we're reading now, and Shmos before it, as to the three periods of before the Torah, and the Torah in the future to come. Parshas Shmos begins in telling the story of going down into Egypt. Kor HaBarzel, the crucible of iron. Sha'al Yedai Nasis HaKanadaman Torah, and through going into Egypt, it prepare us for receiving the Torah. That's why it says we were supposed to spend 400 years in Egypt. We spent 270. And that Galut, that exile, was preparing us for the redemption. And now that we've been in exile for thousands of years, could you imagine how much bigger the redemption is going to be from this current exile? And then we have, of course, Parshas Vayira, which it says to the Jewish people, I'm Havaya, and they know that I'm named Havaya. This is the revealing that took place in the giving of the Torah. And then we have Parshas Bo al Paro, come to Poro. These Poro, these Galim Minikol Nahorim, these very high, lofty lights are giving us an idea of the tremendous energy that will come in the future to come. Test. Yes, Lakasha Amor Le'el Gam is Manjabo, Korean Shana Zo, Parshas Vira, Betchila, Parshas Bo, Shabbos Mavarchim, Chodesh Shvat. And we're entering Shabbos Mavarchim in the month of Shvat. Shabbos Mavarchim, Chodesh Shvat, Hu B'Sil Mechodesh Tevet, Chodesh HaEsri, and we're finishing up the 10th month of the year, the month of Tevet. And we're drawing down and blessing the upcoming month of Shvat. Chodesh Achad Eser, the 11th month of the year. And we see that we are finishing up the 10th month. 10 is a completion of the number of Mudgash Shlemas Avodas the Bnei Yisrael. And as we have learned, we've started, for those who have not joined us, an additional shir Wednesday night that I give every Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Short shir, about 45 minutes, where we're learning Sefer Yetzirah, the oldest and most mystical Kabbalistic text ever written. And we spoke about this in Wednesday's first class, the introductory class. We're going to get into it this upcoming Wednesday about the number 10, how it's the completion of all numbers. And it's emphasizing the completion of the Jewish people in our service. And it's the ultimate completion will take place in the future to come, where it's hinted on in the 11th month. One above the 10 Sfirot. As it says in Petach Eliyahu. You are one God, but not in a numerical sense. So the number 11 is connected to the completion of godly energy in this world, the number 10, and the additional one of completion of God himself above everything. And in the future to come, we will be connected to that level of God himself above the world and also in this world with the number 10. And of course, that's why the Rebbe's, everything is connected to the Rebbe, to the number 11. All the Rebbe Dugmas base have partials ve'ira bo. Mrs. hinted also these two partials ve'ira bo. The Haisef she'inin hagula murumas gam b'shmo shal ha'chodesh kefi she'nikra b'shmois ha'chadashim chodeshim shal mehem bevel. That all the names have a significance to them of the Hebrew month, Shvat, V'chad, Meloshin Shivti, Meshulim, V'baprat, V'hamshala, the Malchus Beit David, Kamosh Yosuf Lo Yisor Shvat, Mihuda, Ad Ki Yavo Shilo, Melech HaMashiach, Eloi Na'amar V'kam Shvat, Yisrael, Zem Melech HaMashiach. That I was giving little hints of how the name Shvat for the month, the Holy Shvat, is connected to redemption, Geula. Base Meloshin Anaf Elim. Kumosh Kusuv Yatza Chutar. Geza Yesh Netza Mishursa Yata Yifra. Yatza Shvat Merucha Mishwarash Yesh Mizora David Hu Melech HaMashiach. Okay. Again, many different psukim that are connected to Shvat that are indicative of the month of Shvat is a month of redemption connected to Geula. That's the month we're entering to now. Yud. And this applies even more in our generation. The 10th of Shvat. We know that on Yud Shvat is the day the previous Rebbe was histolic, was passed from this world. We know the day of his passing, his elevation. And the Alter Rebbe says, the Tanya, that when someone passes on from this world, all their Torah learning, all their service, all their mitzvot that they did, all the days of their life, is revealed down in this physical world. It's down literally into this physical world. So you can imagine what the Frierdiker Rebbe has done for Judaism across this world and how much energy of goodness comes into this world on Yud Shvat. But Paul Yeshua's Bekar, I already said that. Hatzmicha b'yasser sha'az b'yoyser oiz l'achri yistachu sorel Azriya the kol masavar sha'aver kol yimechayav. You see again connected to the Frierdiker Rebbe, all the energy and all the power that he drew down is going to break forth into this world. The mitzicha yizgalu mitzvah shlema, and it will sprout forth into the true and complete redemption through Moshiach tzidkenu b'dereno zeh, through this the Mashiach, our righteous Redeemer of our generation. And is expressed from the leader of the generation that we have reached all the ends. In other words, all the signs of redemption are here. We're in the final moments of the exile. And everything is prepared for the great feast. The table is set. And the guarded wine and the Leviathan and the Shor Bor are all set. We're ready for the redemption. Yesh Lahoisif, that is in addition to Yesh Lamar, there's to say, Shaklalos Hasman Hakashrim Yoima Hailula Esri Bishvat. In general, the connection to the day of the Histophalos of the Frierdiker Rebbe on the 10th of Shvat. Nechelek Legimah Tukfas. Shehem Al Derek Baduma Gimah Tukfas. The Klalis Behemishak Kalduras. And the same, just like the three periods the Rebbe just pointed out, Shmos, V'yira, and Bo, before the Torah, and the future to come. The Rebbe is referring to the Frierdiker Rebbe's three periods of leadership and also three direct levels connected to these three levels. Tukfa Rishona, the first level, Arba'im Shara, 40 years. Bizman, Nasiyai Seishel, Avi, Sha'az, connected to the leadership of his father, talking about the Rebbe Rashab. Sha'az, Chila, the Shlemas, Indian, the Hafutz, Chutz of the Prat Eide Chassidus. Yeshivas Tapei Tamim, that it began the process of spreading out the well springs with the establishment of the Tapei Tamim in Yeshiva, the Babach Yeshiva. That was from the previous Rebbe from the Frierdiker Rebbe, the Rebbe Rashab. All the Rebbe Dugmas, Havodas, Ha'avos, Ha'chana, Yitivah, Inyan, the Matan Torah. And this is like an example of the work of the forefathers that gave the power to the children after they received the Torah. Tukfa Sheni, the second period, Shloshim Shanois Nasyonim, B'chaim Hayoisai, Ba'amadim, the 30 years of his actual leadership in our times, talking about the Frierdiker Rebbe's work himself. Shebehem Haya HaChidush D'Miyuchad Shalom, V'Torah Nasi D'Roisa Chasidus Chabad, Hafus V'Sa Chutza Mamish, that he really began the the cranking up the volume, if you will, of spreading out the wellsprings of Chabad Hasidus around the world. Especially in the final 10 years. The final 10 years that were spent down here in this physical world, in the lower half of the globe. I'm talking about America. And this is like the giving of the Torah, the second period. And the third period is Hemshak and Nisuyis La'achar Histachus. The Rebbe is talking about himself. The Frierdiker Rebbe, after he passed, the Rebbe's work of continuing on with the Frierdiker Rebbe's work after his Histachus. And we see the Rebbe has taken the wellsprings of Hasidus and spread them out to literally the furthest corners of the world. There's 7,000 to 8,000 Chabad houses at this point in time. But the Gamar, the Shleimus Avoda, and now the service has been complete of spreading out the wellsprings. Everything is prepared for the redemption. We see these three periods are also connected to the three periods of the Frierdiker Rebbe's leadership. The first period. First period connected to his service in Russia. Core Barzel with an iron curtain, just like was in a iron crucible, just like was in Egypt. Lifnei Man Torah, the period like before the giving of the Torah. Mysterious Nefesh Mamish. And then we have the second period, Medinas, Poland, where he went to Poland. That's like the period of giving the Torah. Poland. The Tukva Shlishis, and then the third period, the Hatsidura Tachton, connected to America. Really spreading out the wellsprings of Chassidus to an even further dimension. The Karal, the Zeras, the Havi, Esed, Wilamitis, Shlema, Techapiad, Mamash. Karumazes, Ayadura, the Alsa, the Tshuva, the Alsa Gula. And the Rebbe said immediate Tshuva leads to immediate redemption. Yudov. But note the fall. And now we have to connect it to actuality because everything depends on the deed. Oh, wow. This is the last letter. It's a short sikha. And as we're standing in Shabbos Mavarachim in the month of Shvat, especially as it's connected to the 10th of Shvat. Each one of us must take upon herself good resolutions that will lead to actual deed. The Torah and service of the Frierdiker Rebbe. Take more things upon herself. And especially as we have to nullify ourselves and connect to the instructions of the leader of our generation. And this applies to every single Jew. They'll say, well, I'm not a Lubavitcher. No, everyone. Everyone connected to the leader of the generation. Moshe Rabbeinu Shabador, the Moses of our generation. And the first Redeemer is connected to the last Redeemer. The most of Mashiach before Mamash. And we must do everything within our capacity to bring about the true and complete redemption in actuality. Mamash, the Rebbe says. In addition to this, ובבית כל איך המחר וחסידים הקשורים לבחן מאמר המצב מאורס פועלת לסיום להשלים as Kal Maserim was saying, continuing on in all the work and deeds that he's done. Must have a lot of faringas, Hasidic gatherings. Ahal miyom Shabbos Kodesh Mavarchim, beginning on Shabbos Mavarchim, Kodesh Shvat, of the month of Shvat. The Rebbe says Shabbos Mavarchim is the opportune time. It's in the Yom Yom. We should always have forbidden, but you should forbid every Shabbos Mavarchim, which is why, with God's help, every Shabbos Mavarchim, since we've come to America, I think we have a forbidden at our house and fulfilling the Rebbe's directives. We're Rosh Chodesh Shvat, especially as it's connected to the month of Shvat. The 11th month and the 10th day of the month. Hoyel Maseh Ba'ar Es Torah, B'Shve'im Lashon. The Orer L'Chazek Ish Esra Ehu B'Kal Hininim Ha'omrim. Miuchad Zerois Rabba Gula Techmead Mamash. We must encourage and strengthen all those around us, and to increase in Torah and mitzvot, and especially to prepare speedily for the coming of the redemption. Kevan v'chein yesh to'ora al derech hakanas la'richas v'advut esri b'shvat. And we must have big farbrengens on the 10th of Shvat. And God willing, we will be having a Center Shabbaton on the 10th of Shvat. We do everything we can to stay aligned with what the Rebbe is teaching us, because this is the Rebbe's instructions for redemption. And why would we, God forbid, want to do anything other than that? Especially as it's connected to the Baal Hilula. That the Frierdiker Rebbe at our head, Moshe Vaharon, and Moshe and Aaron together with him. And immediately, and as we find ourselves from this Shabbos Kodesh, we'll all go out from the Gullus. Our young and our older sons and our daughters. As it says, Reuven, Shimon, Salkin, either the Korban Yisrael, Min Hagolas, and the Reuven and Shimon went into the exile, and they went out of the exile. Al Gugula Mitzvah Shlema to the true and complete redemption. Kolol Gam Ilui the Bnei Israel the Doregas Ha'avos, including all the Jewish people, including the forefathers. Etzem Yisrael Kifi Shehem Chad Imat Tzvos Yisrael, and it will be revealed that the very essence of every Jew is totally one with the essence of God. And we will go higher and higher and higher and higher forever. You will go from strength to strength. And God will reveal himself in Sion on the base of Mikdash Shlishi. The one that God established with his own hands. So the fullest Galus of the Rebbe Melech HaMashiach. We will not have a class next week. There won't be classes next week. I am going to be away for my kids' winter break. But Wednesday night, join us right here live, same time at 8 o'clock for a 45-minute shir on Kabbalah. If you've never learned the Sefer Yetzirah, here's your chance. It's amazing. It's deep. And it is the deepest secrets of creation will be revealed. Have a wonderful week. Moshiach Now.